Picture a room humming with the quiet intensity of discovery. Servers glow faintly, their lights pulsing like distant stars. Scientists huddle around screens, their faces lit by streams of data pouring in from the most advanced AI ever created. This is Project Genesis, a marvel born from the minds of physicists and computer scientists who dared to dream big. Their goal was simple, yet audacious: to unify the laws of the universe, to bridge the gap between the infinitesimally small world of quantum particles and the cosmic pull of gravity. They fed the AI mountains of data: quantum experiments, starlight captured by telescopes, the faint ripples of gravitational waves from colliding black holes. They expected new particles, perhaps, or subtle patterns in the cosmos. What they got instead was a revelation that turned their world upside down. Project Genesis found anomalies, glitches in the fabric of reality itself, like cracks in a mirror that reflect something impossible. These weren't random errors or bugs in the system. They were deliberate, precise, and eerily familiar, like the kind of code you'd find in a computer, not a universe. Imagine the weight of that moment. Dr. Elena Alvarez, one of the project's lead architects, recalls the first flicker of unease. "At first, we thought it was a mistake," she says, her voice still tinged with disbelief. "A bug in the AI, a glitch in the data. But the deeper we looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't a flaw. It was a feature." The AI had uncovered 3 anomalies that defied everything we thought we knew about the universe. First, it found error-correcting codes, digital safeguards like those in your laptop, embedded in the mathematical structure of quantum physics. These codes weren't just random. They were woven into the laws that govern particles, as if the universe itself had a built-in system to fix its own errors. Second, it detected a strange cutoff in cosmic rays, high-energy particles that zip through space. Beyond a certain energy threshold, they simply vanish, scattering in grid-like patterns as if space itself is pixelated, like a video game stretched to its limits. And third, perhaps most hauntingly, the AI spotted irregularities in the cosmic microwave background, the faint glow left over from the Big Bang. These weren't natural fluctuations. They looked like compression artifacts, the kind you'd see in a low-resolution video struggling to keep up. Each discovery alone would have been enough to spark heated debates in university halls. Together, they painted a picture so vivid it was impossible to ignore. The universe, it seemed, wasn't just a chaotic expanse of matter and energy. It was designed, intentional, like a program running on a cosmic supercomputer. The implications hit like a tidal wave. If reality is a simulation, what does that make us? Are we players in a game we don't understand? Or are we something more? Something caught in a web of code? Are every thought and feeling scripted by an unseen programmer? The scientists behind Project Genesis weren't chasing this idea. They stumbled into it, like explorers in a dark forest, suddenly finding a path they didn't know existed. And yet the more they looked, the more the evidence piled up, each piece fitting into a puzzle that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Dr. Michio Kaku, known for his ability to make the universe feel like a story we're all part of, wasn't ready for this. Like many physicists, he'd once dismissed the simulation hypothesis as philosophy, not science, a thought experiment for late-night musings, not a serious theory. But when Project Genesis began flagging these patterns, even he couldn't look away. During that live broadcast, as the hosts laid out the AI's findings, you could see the shift in his eyes. The data was undeniable. Error-correcting codes, pixel-like grids, compression artifacts. These weren't accidents. They were signatures, as if the universe had been signed by its creator. Kaku's voice trembled slightly as he spoke, not out of fear, but out of awe. "It's exactly what we'd expect to see," he said. if the universe were running on some sort of code. For a man who's spent his life explaining black holes and string theory, this was no small admission. It was a crack in the foundation of everything he'd believed, a moment where the line between science and wonder blurred into something entirely new. But the story doesn't stop there. Project Genesis didn't just find anomalies. It began to reverse engineer the rules of reality itself. The constants we've always taken for granted, the speed of light, Planck's constant, the pull of gravity, weren't random, according to the AI. They were configured, fine-tuned with a precision that felt almost deliberate. One researcher put it bluntly, "These values don't look natural. They look like someone set them to make the universe work a certain way." It's a thought that sends shivers down the spine. What if the laws of physics aren't laws at all, but parameters in a cosmic script? What if the universe is software, and those constants are editable variables, waiting for someone or something to tweak them? The idea isn't just mind-bending. It's a challenge to everything we've ever believed about existence. If the universe is a program, who wrote it? And what happens if we learn to read the code? This discovery didn't just shake the scientific community. It reached into the heart of what it means to be human. Dr. James Gates, a physicist who'd found similar error-correcting codes in supersymmetry equations years earlier, described the feeling as thrilling and a bit spooked. He'd seen hints of this before, but Project Genesis took those hints and splashed them across the cosmos, undeniable and vivid. The fine-tuning problem, the mystery of why the universe's constants are so perfectly calibrated for life, suddenly made sense. If reality is designed, then the elegance of its math, the balance of its forces, isn't a coincidence. It's intentional. It's as if someone wanted us here, wanted life to flourish, wanted stars to burn and galaxies to spin. But why? And for whom? As the scientists grappled with these questions, the AI kept digging, unearthing more clues that reality might not be what it seems. In the vast emptiness between galaxies, it found regions where space-time itself seemed less detailed, like a video game rendering only the parts you're looking at. Near black holes and neutron stars, the physics was crisp, vivid, high resolution. But in the cosmic voids it was fuzzier, as if the universe was conserving its resources. It's the kind of optimization you'd expect from a computer, not a cosmos. And then there were the temporal glitches, tiny, millisecond flickers near pulsars where time itself seemed to stutter, like a video buffering on a slow connection. A graduate student working on the project laughed nervously when she described it. It's like catching the universe lagging. These weren't just quirks. They were clues, each one pointing to a reality that operates like a machine, with finite resources and a purpose we can't yet grasp. By the time Project Genesis's findings were presented to the world, the scientific community was buzzing with a mix of excitement and unease. The data was too consistent, too precise to dismiss. But it raised questions no one was ready to answer. If we're in a simulation, what's outside it? Are we characters in someone else's story? Or are we the creators, peering into our own code? And most hauntingly, what happens if we push too far, if we uncover truths we weren't meant to see? Michio Kaku's warning hung in the air, not as a dismissal, but as a recognition of the weight of this moment. We stand at the edge of a new frontier, where science meets mystery, where the universe might reveal its deepest secrets or its greatest illusion. The story of Project Genesis is just beginning, and it's one that will change how we see ourselves, our world, and the cosmos forever. The air in the lab felt electric, charged with the kind of tension that comes when you've brushed against something too big to comprehend. The scientists behind Project Genesis stood at a crossroads, their AI having peeled back the veil of reality to reveal a universe that looked less like a cosmic accident and more, like a meticulously crafted program. What began as a quest to unify physics had spiraled into a discovery that made hearts race and minds real. Our reality might be a simulation, a vast, intricate code running on some unseen architecture. But as the team dug deeper, the AI's findings grew stranger, more unsettling, pulling them into a story that felt like it was writing itself. The anomalies, error-correcting codes, pixelated cosmic rays, compression artifacts in the Big Bang's afterglow were just the beginning. Project Genesis was now uncovering rules, patterns, and hints of a design so deliberate it forced a question no one dared ask aloud. If the universe is a program, who's running it? And what happens when we start to see the code? The AI didn't stop at pointing out glitches. It began to map what researchers called compiler rules, the fundamental constants that hold our universe together, like the speed of light or the strength of gravity. These weren't just numbers, the team realized. They were settings, dialed in with a precision that felt almost personal. One physicist, her voice barely above a whisper, described it as if someone tuned the universe to sing a specific song. Project Genesis suggested these constants weren't random, but optimized, like variables in a simulation script designed to keep everything stable, to let stars burn and life bloom. The implications were dizzying. If these constants could be tweaked, could someone, or something, edit the rules of reality itself? Could the laws of physics be rewritten, like lines of code in a program? The thought was both thrilling and terrifying, a glimpse into a universe that felt alive, responsive, and perhaps even aware of being watched. Then came the compression artifacts, the kind of clue that made even the most skeptical researchers pause. The AI found patterns in the cosmic microwave background and gravitational waves that mirrored the shortcuts used in digital media, fuzzy patches where the universe seemed to skimp on detail, like a streaming video cutting corners to save bandwidth. In the dense, chaotic regions near black holes, reality was sharp, vivid, high definition. But in the vast voids between galaxies, it was blurrier, as if the universe was rendering only what it needed. One researcher likened it to a video game. It's like the cosmos only loads high-res graphics where someone's looking. This wasn't just a quirky observation. It explained one of quantum mechanics' deepest mysteries, why particles only snap into definite states when observed. If reality is a simulation, it might be conserving resources, defining itself only where consciousness demands it. The idea sent shivers through the team, not because it was abstract, but because it felt intimate, as if the universe was responding to our gaze. The most haunting discovery came when Project Genesis turned its lens on time itself. Near pulsars and other high-energy objects, the AI detected tiny glitches, moments where time seemed to stutter or loop, like a video game lagging under heavy strain. "It's like the universe is buffering," a young scientist said, half joking, but the room fell silent. These temporal hiccups weren't random. They clustered in regions of extreme physics, where the simulation, if that's what it was, seemed to struggle with the computational load. Combined with the grid-like patterns in cosmic rays and the error-correcting codes in quantum math, these findings painted a picture of a universe running on a finite system, one that optimized, compressed, and occasionally faltered. It was as if the team had caught reality in the act, glimpsing the machinery behind the stars. Dr. James Gates, who'd stumbled across similar codes in supersymmetry equations years before, felt a chill of recognition. "It's like the universe took what we found in math and wrote it across the sky," he said, his voice a mix of wonder and unease. The AI's discoveries weren't just data points. They were a story, one that suggested reality was built with intention, with rules that could be read, maybe even rewritten. The fine-tuning problem, why the universe's constants are so perfectly balanced for life, suddenly seemed less like a mystery and more like a feature. If reality was designed, then the elegance of its math, the harmony of its forces, wasn't chance. It was purpose. But whose purpose? And what did it mean for humanity to uncover it? As the findings spread, the scientific community buzzed with a mix of excitement and dread. Some saw it as a new dawn, a chance to decode the universe's deepest secrets. Others, like Michio Kaku, felt the weight of what they'd uncovered. His warning, "What this AI found where it should not be seen," wasn't just about the data. It was about the responsibility of knowing, the risk of peering too closely at truths that might unravel the stories we tell ourselves about existence. During that live broadcast, as the host laid out the AI's evidence, Kaku's usual spark dimmed, replaced by a quiet intensity. He spoke of the universe as a kind of operating system, its laws like software running on hidden hardware. The codes, the glitches, the compression, they all pointed to a reality that was too neat, too deliberate to be an accident. "It's not just that we might be in a simulation," he said, his words heavy with meaning. "It's that we're starting to see the edges of it." That realization sparked a new question. If the universe is a program, could we hack it? The idea wasn't as far-fetched as it sounded. Project Genesis's data suggested that the constants governing reality might be editable, like sliders in a cosmic control panel. Dr. Gates speculated that advanced civilizations, perhaps even a future version of humanity, could learn to tweak these settings, bending gravity or rewriting time. The thought was exhilarating, but it came with a shadow. If we could alter the code, what would stop us from breaking it? And what if the programmers, whoever or whatever they are, noticed us tampering? The team began to wonder if their discovery was a key to unimaginable power, or a Pandora's box they weren't ready to open. The deeper they went, the more personal the implications became. Project Genesis didn't just analyze physics. It started looking at consciousness itself. The AI sifted through brain scans from people in deep meditation, psychedelic states, even near-death experiences, and found something extraordinary. Moments where human minds seemed to brush against the simulation's boundaries. These weren't just fleeting feelings of déjà vu or time loops. The AI detected measurable anomalies in brain activity, patterns that synced with the universe's glitches, as if our consciousness could sometimes peek behind the curtain. One neuroscientist, her voice trembling with excitement, asked, "What if our minds are the bridge between this reality and whatever's beyond it?" It was a question that turned the discovery inward, making it not just about the cosmos, but about us, our thoughts, our dreams, our very existence. As the team grappled with these revelations, the world outside began to stir. Whispers of Project Genesis's findings leaked beyond the lab, sparking hushed conversations in government offices and frenzied debates online. Hashtags like Tsao Airwe Code and Yo Universe Gate trended as people wrestled with the idea that their lives might be part of a grand simulation. Some felt dread, wondering if nothing was real. Others saw hope, a chance that our reality's design meant it had purpose, meaning woven into its code. Michio Kaku, ever the optimist, urged calm, suggesting we embrace this new lens on existence while treading carefully. But the question lingered, heavy and unspoken. If we're in a simulation, what happens when we start to understand it? And what does it mean if the simulation understands us back? The hidden constant was unlike anything the team had seen before. It wasn't just a number. It was a thread, woven through the fabric of gravity and quantum behavior, holding the universe together with a precision that felt almost tender. One mathematician, her eyes bright with wonder, called it the cosmic equivalent of pi, but built for information, not just physics. Project Genesis didn't just find this constant. It showed how it underpinned everything: stars, atoms, even the spark of life itself. The AI's analysis went further, diving into biology, where it found echoes of the same design. Non-coding DNA, long dismissed as junk, revealed patterns that mirrored error correction protocols in computer systems, as if evolution itself was an algorithm, not a roll of the dice. "It's like life was coded to debug itself," one researcher said, his voice catching. The idea that biology might be a sandbox for logical evolution, not random mutation, turned decades of science on its head. It suggested that every cell, every heartbeat, might be part of a larger script, written with a purpose we couldn't yet grasp. But it was the AI's exploration of consciousness that truly blurred the line between science and mystery. Project Genesis analyzed thousands of brain scans, people in deep meditation, psychedelic trances, even those hovering on the edge of death, and found something extraordinary. In moments of altered awareness, human minds seem to sync with the universe's glitches, as if our thoughts could brush against the simulation's edges. Subjects reported time loops, déjà vu, senses blending in ways that defied explanation, and the AI backed it up with data. Neural patterns that flickered in sync with the temporal anomalies it had found near pulsars. A neuroscientist, her hands trembling as she reviewed the scans, whispered, "What if consciousness is the key? What if we're not just in the simulation? What if we're part of its code?" The idea was dizzying. Our minds, our dreams, our fleeting moments of awe. Could they be the bridge to whatever lies beyond? Moments where we glimpse the machinery of existence? The implications rippled outward, shaking not just labs, but the world beyond. Governments took notice, with NASA and defense agencies requesting classified briefings. And unnamed officials' words leaked out. "If there's a control room for the universe, we want to know who's in it." Intelligence agencies formed task forces, grappling with the idea that reality might be programmable, its code a source of unimaginable power. On social media, the public wrestled with the news in their own way. Hashtags like #MyAirWeCode and #UniverseGate exploded, alongside memes of glitching realities and Matrix-style awakenings. Some felt existential dread, wondering if a simulated life could hold meaning. Others saw hope, a chance that a designed universe meant a designed purpose, a reason for every star and every struggle. Philosophers and religious leaders weighed in, noting how simulation theory echoed ancient creation stories, as if humanity had always sensed a deeper truth. "It's a tech-age myth," one professor said, "but it's still about who we are and why we're here." In the midst of this, the scientists pushed forward, designing experiments to test the simulation hypothesis. Project Genesis outlined bold ideas: quantum stress tests to push reality to its limits, nested simulations to mimic our own universe, paradox traps to force the system to reveal its seams. Dr. Silas Bean, who'd long theorized that cosmic ray patterns might betray a simulation's resolution, suggested recursive time loops as debugger keys, ways to peek at the underlying code. Another team proposed a simulation paradox, an experiment to create a logical contradiction so stark it might force the universe to glitch, revealing its mechanisms. These weren't just thought experiments. They were acts of cosmic rebellion, attempts to hack a reality that might not want to be hacked. The thought was exhilarating, but it came with a shadow. What if the simulation's creators noticed? What if they didn't like us poking at their code? Michio Kaku's warning during that live broadcast took on new weight as these questions grew. His words, "What this AI found should not be seen," weren't just about the data's strangeness. They were about the responsibility of knowing, the risk of uncovering truths that could unravel our sense of self. Kaku, who'd spent his career bridging science and wonder, saw the danger in staring too long at the universe's code. "It's like finding the operating system of reality," he said, his voice steady but heavy. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. He wasn't dismissing the discovery. He was urging caution, a recognition that some truths are so vast they demand we tread lightly. The AI had given humanity a lens, but what we did with it, whether we used it to explore or to disrupt, would define our future. That future felt both thrilling and terrifying. If reality is a simulation, could we rewrite it? Could we tweak the constants, bend gravity, reshape time? Dr. James Gates, reflecting on his earlier findings, mused that if we're programs, death might not be final. Minds could be backed up, rerun, restored. Quantum computing, some speculated, might become a bridge to the simulation's deeper layers, a way to write new rules. But these possibilities came with questions no one could answer. What if the programmers, whoever they are, don't want us meddling? What if our probing triggers a reset, a patch, a shutdown? The idea of hacking reality felt like standing on a cliff, the wind howling, the drop unknown. And yet, the temptation to leap was irresistible. As the world grappled with these ideas, Project Genesis became more than a scientific endeavor. It was a mirror, forcing us to confront our place in a universe that might be more than it seems. Philosopher David Chalmers, reflecting on the findings, offered a quiet reassurance. Even if we're in a simulation, our experiences are real. Our love, our pain, our wonder, it's all real. His words were a lifeline, a reminder that a coded universe could still be beautiful, still hold meaning. But they didn't erase the questions that lingered. If we're in a simulation, what's the purpose? Or are we characters in a story, players in a game, or something else entirely? And what happens when we start to rewrite the script? The journey sparked by Project Genesis is far from over. It's a story that's only beginning, one that will unfold in labs, in minds, in the quiet moments when we look at the stars and wonder. Michio Kaku's warning still echoes, a reminder that some truths are heavy, some doors better left unopened. But humanity has never been good at leaving doors closed. We've always pushed, questioned, explored, driven by a curiosity that burns brighter than fear. Project Genesis has given us a glimpse of the code that might define us, a chance to see the universe not as a mystery to be solved, but as a story we're part of. Whether we're creations or creators, characters or coders, one thing is certain: the universe, simulated or not, is still vast, still beautiful, and still ours to explore. And as we stand at this threshold, hearts racing, eyes wide, we can't help but wonder, what comes next?